So I decided to diagnose and investigate what was in the stump from the Meyers lemon tree. So the very bottom, this is from the very bottom. That's not only not only dead, but you can see that it's starting to, get fungus and stuff up in. The branches, though, were green. I don't know if you can see. Let's see, I'll rotate it around. So I don't know if this is going to zoom in because this phone doesn't zoom in very well. There's a very thin bark on the dead part and thicker bark up on the branches. So with Meyers lemon trees, there's the rootstock, which is not Meyers lemon, and then they graft it, and then from there up is the improved Meyers lemon tree. So I got my big bandsaw and I first cut it in half because it was cracked. And you can see the fungus was coming up and it was up a couple inches because the root started about down here. But then the wood's not bad, and it's up, and you can kind of see where the graft is, or you can see where the graft is. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but you'll notice, like right here, you can see a super paper thin bark line here, and a much thicker bark line above the graft. So again, thin bark, thicker bark. So for whatever reason, well, I know I know the reason. The root ball was because I also tore the roots apart. You can see here. And yeah, they were all tied in together in just this giant constricting mass. So I'm fairly certain now. Well, I was certain before, but I'm like 100% certain now. The reason it died was the roots were all screwed up. And that just, trees need roots that work, and that did not have it. But yeah, you can see the graft line, and you can even see the difference in wood color. This is a darker color, that's a lighter color, and it feels more wet in above the graft than below. So this has been dead for a while, so it dried out, and then this is more moist. And then on the other side, again, there's the, oops. Well, there goes that. So then I cut it in another direction. So it was like this. And it's too bad this phone doesn't zoom in because this is actually really cool. But again, you can see that it was starting to get fungus and degrade at the bottom. A little bit better here. And then at the demarcation between that and the graft, again, it's much thinner bark, much thicker bark above the graft on all sides. Then I cut it open this way, and I think that's kind of cool. I mean, you can see that there was some bark inclusion, so the graft had some issues along the graft line. It was enough to keep the tree alive, but not great. But it's interesting the way it grew above there. I mean, you can see the bulge in the limbs and things. And yeah, that's kind of neat. And that's what a dead branch looks like. So it was dead down in about a 1/4 inch. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Nothing too exciting, but just interesting, to me at least, that it was more alive above the graft than below the graft. But I'm guessing because trees will last for a while without a root system, but it's in the order of months versus longer because they store all the energy in the roots. And so I'm guessing when the base died, well, I know that the roots, or I should say, the limbs still had leaves up until more recently, and then they probably just weren't getting enough water or were getting too much water with the rains, and it finally finished up. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So nothing too exciting, but kind of neat.